saw my Facebook post this week, you probably knew that I was trying to work on something for this sermon that involved Family Feud. That failed spectacularly. And so my sermon is shorter than I intended.
Oh, that's even better. Poor Adam. We love you. It's okay. Sorry.
Wow. Okay. So instead of doing that and making this a lot shorter than it should be, I'm gonna make an audible and thank a friend of mine who is willing to do this with me. A couple months ago, I went to Breathe 37.9, which is over in Edgewood off Nuttall Avenue, and I was able to see their Hope Center for the first time. Breathe 37.9 was a ministry that I'd heard a lot about, but I didn't know very much about, and certainly hadn't been inside the Hope Center to see it. And when I got there, I was really impressed, and I told Mike, this is Mike Nolan, I said, thanks for showing me around. Would you like to come to Common Ground and talk about this? And at that time, Common Ground was scheduled for April 30th. And he was like, oh, we have our retreat that day. And I said, okay, well, maybe if we get a rain date or whatever. And this ended up getting pushed back. But then I had that great Family Feud idea. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to have time for Mike. Then the Family Feud idea failed, and Mike came anyway. So I'm going to have him come up, and we're just going to talk real quick about Breathe 37.9 and just what they do and why they do it, and it's going to lead really well into the sermon, I think. So, I hope so. So, Mike Nolan, and if you can, we have to be back behind the speakers. So can you just tell everybody what Breathe 37.9 is all about?
Yeah. So actually, if it's all right, I want to go back and explain the name a little bit. So Breathe 37.9 is based out of Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 9, and I'm going to read that real quick, just and that'll kind of help me out. Explain a little bit about why, who, what, where, and what we do. So it says, the hand of the Lord was on me, and he brought me out by the Spirit of the Lord and set me in the middle of a valley. It was full of bones. He led me back and forth among them, and I saw a great many bones on the floor of the valley, bones that were dry. And he asked me, Son of man, can these bones live? I said, Sovereign Lord, you alone know. Then he said to me, prophesy to these bones, and say to them, dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. This is what the Sovereign Lord says to these bones. I will make breath enter you, and you will come to life. I will attach tendons to you, and make flesh come on you, and cover you with skin. I will put breath in you, and you will come to life. Then you will know that I am the Lord. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I was prophesying, there was a noise, a rattling sound, and the bones came together, bone to bone. And I looked, and tendons and flesh appeared on them, and skin covered them, but there was no breath in them. Then he said to me, prophesy to the breath, prophesy, Son of man, and say to it, this is what the Sovereign Lord says. Come breath from the four winds, and breathe into these slain, that they may live. So as I prophesied, as he commanded me, their breath entered them, and they came to life and stood on their feet, a vast army. So we live in a society, in a world right now where people are just existing. And that's what Ezekiel saw. He saw bodies, bones, just standing in front of him that were existing. And there was nothing to them. And a lot of times today, if you look around, and maybe you yourself, I know I do it a lot of times, we're just there. We go week to week, paycheck to paycheck, just trying to figure things out. And as a body of Christ, God calls us to breathe life into them. And sometimes that might be through a can of corn, or it could be through a t-shirt, or it could just be simply sitting down over a cup of coffee or an iced coffee and just talking with somebody. So about 10 years ago, God laid on my heart to start doing this toy drive. So we started doing a toy drive in the community, a little bit different than what most folks do. We gather toys. We have Santa and Mrs. Claus and a bunch of elves all come together. And then we show up in these neighborhoods with nobody knowing that we're going to be there. And we start handing out these toys. This year we had the opportunity to give 1,000 kids toys, stockings, and pajamas all through our community here. We opened up what we call the Hope Center in Edgewood about 3 years ago. When you walk in, it's a completely different place than what you think you're walking into. I actually had a guy walk in there this week and say, hey, I'm sorry, I thought I was walking into a food pantry. And I'm like, nah, man, you're in the right place. When you walk into what looks like a coffee house. So we have a coffee bar, we give out free drinks, free lunches. We have a clothing closet called The Cabin, where it's set up like a boutique. We have a food pantry called Bailey Sue's Country Market that's set up like a store. And you come in and you go shopping for yourselves. We believe wholeheartedly that just because you might be down on your luck, you're struggling or whatever, that you don't lack dignity, that you still have pride in yourself. And we want to keep that going. So we bring you in, we ask you, hey, is there anything going on that we can pray with you about? Great, we'll pray with you, we'll get you set up. And what happens is people come back in and you start building a relationship with them. And through that relationship, you get to share who Jesus is. You get to see the transformation in their lives. We do a program called Mentors, where this week we've got a football camp starting up. It's completely free. Young guys are coming out to learn different skills on football, but it's not just football that they're learning. They're learning how to be a man, how to turn into a young man, a godly young man. We've got something called Revive, where ladies come together, and it's the same thing. We're pouring into women's life who might not have another place to do that. We've got a community event coming up on the 24th of June, where instead of, you ever been in these places where you've got all these vendor tables and, hey, we're going to help you, here's our business card, give us a call. Well, we're going to do it a little bit differently. So we have a huge cookout, blowout cookout. We've got live music, and our vendors, we've told them, if you're coming, you have to offer services that day, not just a business card. So folks like SARC will be there, Hartford Community Action Agency, and they're actually going to sit down and they're going to begin to build relationships. And they're going to be able to speak life, to breathe life, what God told Ezekiel to do. Sometimes it takes just a friend to come along and say, hey man, I'm here with you no matter what. I may not be able to fix all your problems, but I can walk with you. I can pray with you. And that's what God's called us to do. If you're interested in anything that we do or would like to chat or whatever, if you're on Facebook, hit up our Facebook, Breathe379. That's also our website, breathe379.com. I'll be more than willing to sit and chat with you, talk with you. If you want to volunteer, if you need services, whatever. We have folks that just come up, which is really cool, just come in just to sit and talk. We had a lady, I'll tell this one story and then I'll let you go, sorry. I'm cutting into your time.
No, we got plenty.
We got plenty.
They
So,
don't
all right then, so I got time. No. So we had a lady come in, and this was a little while ago. There's so many stories that I could tell. A lady came in and she did a registration and she went into the Bailey Sue's Country Market. And she happened to tell the lady, Cheryl, that was in there, my back is just really hurting today. So Cheryl just reached over and she said, Lord, just touch her back. And that's all she said. But Cheryl's heart is so honest and just pure before the Lord that I believe God heard that prayer. 3 weeks later, that same lady came in and she said, hey, I need to talk to that lady again. I said, okay. I said, is everything okay? And she goes, yeah. She said she prayed for my back and like that, the pain was gone. She said, well, the pain started coming back again a couple of days ago. And she said, I don't know what she did or how she did it. She said, but I was wondering if she would pray with me again. I said, yeah. And I said, I can tell you that what she did is she talked to Jesus on your behalf. That's what she did. And Jesus honored that. So we went about, got her registered again. And she said, well, where is it? And I said, well, this time Cheryl's up behind the lunch bar. She's making lunches. So go up and get your lunch and just say something to her. She'll talk with you. She'll pray with you. And the woman got up and she walked away. She turned around and she looked at me and she said, here's the thing though. She said, you know I'm practicing Hindu. And I said, hey, you know what? That's okay. I said, because Jesus cares about you, not where you are, what you're doing. He cares about you. So I say that to tell you today, wherever you are in your life, wherever you are in your faith walk, whatever it is that you believe, I honestly, truly believe that if you come to Jesus and give him a try, he will meet you and he will do something drastic in your life if you allow him to. Amen? All right. No. Thanks, mate.
I don't know. I stood up there just in case he needed me to help him through it. He came with no preparation whatsoever, and he did that. So thank you, Mike. I don't think you're going to want to hear what I've got to say after that. I'm just going to tell you stupid little stories from my childhood now. Well, let's start. Actually, hang on one second. I'm going to do a new video.